Hey everybody, this is Isa, your host of the Bug Scope. Hope you're well. Right when I started, it looks like my connection dropped, but hopefully it'll come back in one moment and it gets its bearing here. Hi Frank, hello David, how are you guys? And Heavenly and Knowledge, Shabazz, hope you guys are around too. I saw you comment on the post earlier. Hope you guys are all doing well, enjoying summer. We're at the height of summer here. If you are in North America, keep your eye out for tiger beetles. They are on the run, and they're a very exciting insect to come across. Also, soon we'll have our next round of silk moths that take flight. They may have already taken flight in some of the more southern locations. So keep your eye out for Luna moths and Cecropia moths and Polyphemus moths and Imperial moths as you go about things at nighttime. And fireflies too, if you're on the East Coast. It is firefly season, so enjoy them while they are here and shining and in all their glory. Welcome to the Bug Scope. This is Isa, your host. We are live broadcasting from HAPS, and this broadcast goes over to YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. If you're watching live from those platforms, I get all of your comments. They get aggregated right onto HAPS. And so you can watch from there. We have one live studio audience member right here. If you guys want to, Mika, you want to say hi? Let me see if I can show you guys, Mika. Come here. Right at the right edge of the frame. Ah, I'm trying to turn. Wait, is she going to come in? Come here, Mika. All right. She's like the best cat at staying at the very, very edge of where you want her to be. Let me see if I can get her in again. Here, Mika. Here's our live studio audience member. Over here. Hi, Mika. Bless you. There's Mika the cat. So she'll be watching the Bug Scope live today in the front row seat. So, okay. Hi, Miko. Yes, the fireflies are everywhere this year, says Jake. They seem to thrive when it's dry. Interesting observation. Yeah, we had a firefly expert on the show earlier this year. And wetland or wet, moist sort of leaf litter habitats are really important for fireflies as larvae. Oh no, my connection. And then let me try to turn my phone off. That might help. All right, see if that helps anything. Trevor, how are you doing? Super duper, hello. And Frank and Robert and Georgia, hello. How's it going? Yeah, so, and when it rains a lot, it might affect their ability to shine and fly around. Hopefully, yes, butterfly poster. So I have some specimens here, and our caterpillar friends are still growing. I'll be switching them to a new cage soon. I know it looks a little blurry for you all, unfortunately, but hopefully it'll become depixelated. Is there a word for that? I don't know. Okay, and then, yeah, picture is pixelated right now, so not sure what to do about that. I'll tell you some things that don't involve visuals, and then hopefully by the time I'm done sharing those things, the video will not be pixelated anymore. How does that sound? Okay, yeah, today is not spiders, so no worries. Eerie, is that how to pronounce your name? So what I can tell you that's very exciting is today I'm filling out some information, submitting a headshot, submitting the survey in preparation for the National Geographic Storytelling Fellowship that I will be orientation that I will be participating in at the end of the month. Very stoked about that. Not only will I go, yay, the image is better. David, thanks for stopping by to say hi. So at the end of this month, I'll be participating in a virtual orientation with other fellow Nat Geo storytelling fellow people who will also be going to different parts of the world for their Fulbright. Very stoked for this. to finally be happening. It was supposed to happen last summer in July, and then that was canceled because here, let me try to turn off my screen share. Maybe that will help. That was canceled because of COVID. So everything was pushed back. My departure right now is set to occur in 2022, January 2022, to go to Indonesia to do work on insects and photograph them and document them. Hopefully we'll get some really poorly unknown. I'm hoping to shed light on many poorly known species, and then also just like explore how restoration projects in the peat swamp forest there have been affecting the animal and community composition of the insects. No pixels, go away pixels, or come, maybe it's not go away pixels, but we want more pixels to enter the video screen, hopefully. Thank you, Super Duper. I am super excited about it, and hopefully things will get better when it comes to COVID in the world, because right now the situation is really difficult in Indonesia with COVID. So I hope that they are able to get the vaccinations that they need to get the country and the people in the country safe and back on track to return to normal eventually. So, all right. What else can I talk about while it's pixely? Go away, pixels. I don't know what to do about the pixeliness. Maybe it's the humidity where I am. I'm not sure. Mika, do you know? Maybe Mika's fuzziness is causing fuzziness on the screen. Fuzzy reception. Here, come here, Mika. Come on this side, Mika. Test it out. All right. It's definitely difficult, the pixels, because this show, the Bugscope, is very visually oriented. I am using not my phone data connection. I'm using just show bigger bugs. Yeah. I'm using Wi-Fi connection. So maybe if I close, oh, now it's clear. Now stay this way. Maybe if I close a couple of things that I have open, question mark. Maybe I have too many other apps open. Let me close a couple of things here. I don't know how much it'll help, but I do see that it's cleared up right now. Are the 17-year cicadas partied out? Yes, they have partied till they dropped. And they have definitely dropped. That day when I broadcasted on them about 2 weeks ago was definitely one of the last days they were active here in Ann Arbor. So, all right, maybe moving Mika helped or was good luck. Thanks, Mika, for joining me on this side of the camera. The silent fringe cat. Okay, so Mika, maybe Mika can co-host with me today. I think she likes the sound of human voices. All right, so here I have in this insect collection container, I have a bunch of insect specimens. No pixels, go away. Okay, it's clear. Bunch of insect specimens that I will take out, and we can put a couple of them underneath the scope and take a look at their wings up close. One thing that will be interesting to take a look at and see is if we see differences or how the iridescent butterfly up in the corner, which you can't see because it's so small, but you'll see it in a moment, maybe how those iridescent scales, those shiny ones, compare with the ones that are not iridescent or just a matte sort of finish. So that big one is a Luna moth, and then we also have a Pieridie or sulfur or white of some kind, and then above that is the Lycaenid or blue butterfly, and below that is a Noctuid of some kind, some underwing moth. Okay, so I kind of want to look at the iridescent one first, which might be the most exciting one. So maybe I'm not doing this in the right order, but I can't help it. We're going to take a look at this one first. So here it is up close. This is a Lycaenidae. That's the family name, as mentioned before. Underside, the ventral side or the underside is gray, and the top side has an iridescent bluish purple coloration. This is a specimen that I collected in New Jersey in 2011. It's determined as Cupido comintas. So I will have a makeshift container for surface for placing the specimen, and then it will go underneath the scope. All right, here we go. I'm gonna dive in. And also, I wonder if unplugging this relates to what happened. Okay. Did I freeze? No, unfreeze. Okay, it's unfrozen. Okay, here we go. Okay. So what you see over here, I forget a funny way. Such is life. I wonder, okay. So there's the bottom of our butterfly. And let's get it in focus. So butterflies are in, no, pixels. Butterflies are in the family, and moths for that matter, are in the family, the order Lepidoptera. Lepi refers to scales, and ptera means winged. So they're scaly winged animals. And I hope that it stops being pixely in a moment. I will zoom in for now until hopefully it'll clear up a bit. Let's try that. Hello, Blinky. Yes, that's right, butterflies. Here we are. Not alive ones, but when they are preserved specimens, we're able to take a look up close like this in ways that we're unable to when they are flying around and elusive. So I hope it's a little pixely right now, guys, but hopefully, oh, I think it's cleared a little bit now. Hard to say. So we're zooming way in. Insect scales, moth and butterflies are covered with these incredible scales which give them their superpowers. They are hydrophobic, so they are resistant to water. And if you think about it, insects, when they're flying around, living their life in the world, this world called Earth, when rain falls, it's large and it's heavy, and it also can be cold. And that poses a bunch of issues. Like imagine us humans, you and me, imagine yourself walking around town, and all of a sudden it starts raining bowling balls. Not only can the impact hurt a lot, it could also make you feel really cold. And so butterflies have come to a situation where they have their scales have these nanostructures on them, which cause the water to break into many, many tiny little pieces, which help to, it's like if a bowling ball fell on you, but as it touched you, it just shattered into many pieces. That would help, that would take off that weight and that pressure, and then it wouldn't be a problem. It also, the hydrophobic nature of them, the way they repel water, prevents them from getting hypothermia and their temperatures from dropping severely. So there's a lot we can learn from butterfly scales, and it's definitely something that can inspire technologies that we can use with our rain jackets or umbrellas in a process in what's called biomimicry, where we look at what nature has been doing this is a solution to thousands, not just thousands, but millions of years of butterflies and moths facing that pressure of water and rain. Oh, good. It's clear now. Excellent. Okay, so I'm just going to keep on zooming in. I wonder if this is as far as I can go. The tricky thing is that, let me make it brighter. As we zoom in, we need more light. Okay, so here's our butterfly. Let's go look at its, and here are the scales. I think this is as far as I can zoom in, which might be 180 magnification, I believe. I'm still learning about this microscope, but I think that the white balance is off too. It's a little more blue to me when I look into here than it does look on the camera, so let me fix that. White balance. Not really sure how to use this yet, so maybe I'll just adjust it so it looks the way that I see it. Nope, other way. To me, it looks like, okay, that looks way too green on the one side. Maybe that's more of, nope. Maybe? Oh, there we go. That's much more like it. I think it's a little less this way. Wait, white balance. Maybe that. Maybe we'll do that. I don't know. Default. Okay. Doesn't look quite that blue to me, but it definitely is blue. So maybe we'll just leave it like this. Or maybe, what if I move it this way and white balance it off of this piece of paper? I'll try that. I'm still learning. Still learning a lot about how to use this. Now it looks too green though. Looks way too green. This is more accurate, so I think I'll leave it like this. Oops. But it still looks a little greenish. The blue looks fine, I reckon. Okay, we'll stick with this then. Yeah, so this is a tiny little butterfly. Some members of this family, this butterfly family, have unique relationships with ants, where ants like take care of them, or they like raid the ants and they eat the ants' brood or babies. Are the defaults any good? This is default now. So let me see. I put that there. I think I just need to make it a little less green. That's better. That's way better. Yep. Although it does look even more blue, perhaps. It looks something like that. Anyway, work in progress. Really green. Yeah, it's not quite green. How do I get rid of the green? I think I get rid of the green with tint. Oops, wrong way. Now it's pink. Anyway, that's yellow. This is blue. I think I'll just stick like this for now. That's somewhat close. Okay. All right, let's look at some other body parts though. It's definitely more bluish than what we see. All right, so let's find the face of the butterfly and see how that looks. I think I need to re-angle it. So one moment as you want to take a look at the eyes. And one thing I want you guys to notice as we look around at the butterfly is how different parts of its body have different types of scales. They have different textures and endings that are pretty interesting to see. Okay. Oops. Oh, there's the label. Oh, there's my name. ISA is who you're on this broadcast with. That's funny. Let me close. Okay. And I'll make this not fill the screen as I move around to try to minimize motion sickness. Okay. Moving this way to our specimen. Here we go, we found it. Oh, here are the fringes. The very end of the wing is here. Wow, it looks so pink. Figure out. Is that better? That's better. It's way better. Okay. Then looking for the face of the butterfly. It's over here somewhere. There it is. Cool. I'll zoom out a little bit too to give us a little more perspective. Oh, wow, too much light. All right, here's the body of the butterfly. It looks really weird from this angle. Looks almost like bird feathers. Yeah, it does. Switch back to this. The Isa tattoo on the butterfly, says David Dunn. Yes, this is our little lycaenid butterfly. You can see its face right there. I'll zoom in. You can see, we can see the way it has little hairs all over its body. It looks like it lost some on its thorax. But on the left of the screen, you can see where its antenna come out from kind of near the top of its head. And let me try even more to turn it so we can see. I want to see more of its face with you guys. It's not really showing us more of its face, but we can see the antenna and the little knobby end of the butterfly antenna, which has a hollow ending, unless it broke, but maybe it is just that way. This is the tip of the antenna. Let's see the other one to see how they compare to each other. If the endings look the same, or if that one actually might be damaged, or maybe it's just the way it is. Maybe it's just the way it is. Interesting. I don't know. It brings up a lot of questions to me. But you can see the ridges of the scales that still coat not just the butterfly wings, but also the butterfly antenna. And follow them down back to the butterfly. Wow, so bright. Let me turn down the brightness. Hi, Heavenly Dew. How are you? Yeah, so face to remember. So yeah, this is our first butterfly. I wish I could get the colors are close. It's a little more purple to me than it looks, I think, to you guys. But yes, this is our butterfly number one. Let's look at another butterfly now. Let's look at the Luna moth. Let's look at the Luna moth. We can look at its antenna. Here. But in order to do that, I'm going to have to lift up this whole setup because it's a big, large moth. The Luna moth is very large, very green, and this is a male, and we know that because it has these huge, huge feathery antennae at the top. This one was collected also by me back in 2000. This is 10 years ago. Collected 10 years ago in, where is this? In New York. In New York? Yes, New York. What was I doing there? Oh no, yes, doesn't. Cool. Okay, so place it on here, our stage, and we will take a look at our Luna moth friend. Oops. Switch this around. Okay. Zooming down. Wow, you can see all the feathers really well. The feathery antenna. Let's bring it into the frame. So the males find the females at nighttime, and these moths only live for like a week. And so it's really important that they're efficient at finding a mate. And that's why the males have these antennae that are covered in lots and lots of surface area. Lots of surface area so that it's able to pick up on female, oops, I need to lower it more, female receptors. Okay, lots of adjusting here. One moment. Let's try that. Brightness up or down? I think down. Up? Not sure. Not New York City, but New York State. Okay. I'm looking to get the, maybe make it darker, brighter? Not sure which direction will help. Or maybe I need to put something dark underneath it for contrast. Anyway, these are the antennae up close. They're covered in chemoreceptors, and so when they emerge, they have a finite amount of time to find a mate because they don't have any mouth parts, which means they're going to expire at some point. And actually, that's a good reminder. Butterflies of a feather flock together. Yeah, I realize I'm going a little off the topic, a little misleading here to show a moth during this butterfly titled broadcast. So to be clear, this one is a moth, which they famously do have very, very feathery antenna. I'm trying to think of how I can show you guys. It's a little tricky because I want to show you these antenna, but they're like, if I turn it sideways to put it on one horizontal plane, it makes the moth itself go very vertical, which does not work well with putting it underneath the scope. But you know what we can do? Maybe we can look at the moth that I showed on the broadcast a couple weeks ago. I will be right back, going to the freezer. We have this Luna moth too that we can take a look at that was on the broadcast on the Bug Scope a couple weeks ago. And its antenna are in a much easier orientation for me to get close to it with the scope. So that is what we shall do. Oops. Okay. Uh-oh, I'm not low enough to it, which means I need to raise it up. How shall I raise it up? There it is. I will put it upside down on here. And then roll up. Let's try that. Okay, there we go. All right, so back to the antenna. I think this one might be no, it's a male. Hey, Maya, how are you? Yes, insect in the freezer for preservation. Okay, back to And no. Have a great evening, Tash Tickles. Thanks for popping by. Hope you have a great evening. Doing well, thanks. We're taking a look at the features of some moths and butterflies up close with the dissection scope. And I'm waiting a moment and stalling while the broadcast hopefully returns from pixelated form. I'm working from home right now, Maya. And so I have these specimens that I collected back in like 2011 and 12 while I was in school and studying entomology for my degree. Right, is it? It's still pixely. Oh, these moths found everywhere. These are found in northeastern to like kind of central USA at certain times of the year. I'm not totally sure off the top of my head which giant silk moths are found on the West Coast, but there are some. So, Dan, how's it going? Pixels, pixels, go away. And please never come back any other day. Here, well, I'll go to one of the eye spots while we're waiting for the pixels to go away. Wow, this is really pretty. Wow, I think this is going to be the show of this broadcast once the pixels go away. Because this one, once the pixels clear up, hopefully they do. No giant pixels, please. Please divide pixels. This is a view where we'll really be able to, yeah, good to see you here live. It's clear. It's not clear for me yet, but I'm glad it's clear for you. Let me see actually here. So this is one of their eye spots, Saturniidae, or zoom out a little bit, make it darker because, or maybe I need to make it less contrasty since the white seems kind of blown out. Less contrast, I think that's helpful. And maybe a little less saturation. It is very colorful. Let me see. It's very colorful. It is very colorful. But I think the hue is a little bit off. Maybe I can try the white balance on here. Let's try that. I think that's somewhat accurate, I think. You can see that some of the membrane of the wing here does not have any scales. But then you can see the scales around the sides, and sometimes having those windows with no scales helps to break up the body of an insect so that whatever color is behind it helps to dictate the color. So there's a little bit of change that can occur. And it helps with camouflage and defense of an insect. Oh, the camera is clear, the scope is not. What? That's strange. Thank you for that feedback. Hi, Renee. Hopefully that will, maybe if I go like this, it'll clear up a little bit, maybe. Let me try I'll try making this go away and come back. How about that? And then maybe, hopefully it'll help. Stop presenting, and then I'll re-present. I re-present to you this evening these scales. I think it's working now. Yeah, it's clear now. Yay, it's clear. Awesome. Right? Is it clear to you all? Oh, good. All right, glad to have reset that and have that work. Renee says, I thought about you the other day. I found a big Kakuna chrysalis and want to show you to see if you know what it is. Oh yeah, send me a message send it to me on Twitter or Instagram, or email me at isabetabug@gmail.com. I'll take a look. Yeah, so you can see all these different colors. It's like a big fiesta, big party here. And I will zoom out so we can take a look at, oh, I guess I can zoom in more too. Let's zoom, I guess we can zoom in before we zoom out because I did that by accident. And so why not? I can get adjustment again. Let's see, get some clarity. So here are the scales. Here are some of those scales. So you have black scales, yellow scales, some purpley scales, some white scales all mixed up. And you can see the ends of them are have a bunch of texture, kind of, I guess, feathered or fringed. It looks like the yellow ones have a sort of shorter fringe and the purpley ones have much longer edges. Pretty interesting to see. So this is way up close on a Luna moth. And then the membrane was over here. And if we make this clear, it just looks very, wow, it looks kind of like, what does it look like? Looks like a plastic surface or something. I'm guessing that the green part is probably a vein, a wing vein of some kind. And then you can also see over here some of the white ones. That one white one looks like it's a little bit out of place. And butterfly scales and moth scales, they are designed to fall off if need be. They're designed to fall off because they are very slippery. If something comes and bites a moth or a butterfly or tries to catch it, then it can just slip away and all you're left with is a finger of dust or a finger of scales. And that works really well sometimes with spider webs where, where the spider will be left with a scale-filled web. And it works really well. That's why they have their scales. That's why it's stuck with them all these years. It helps them with their success. So that's the top front right forewing, the forewing of a Luna moth. And then here's the edge. Frank is saying, is there a bald spot where they already fell off? I didn't see one. This bald spot though is on purpose. So some purposefully have these windows in their wings. And some butterflies, so this is a moth once again, but some butterflies like the clear wing butterfly, Ithomedy is the family name, they have wings that severely lack scales on purpose, and that helps them blend in with their surroundings. Let's zoom in on this part too, because it looks kind of interesting. Okay. Getting focus. So here's the front leading edge of the forewing. You can see these scales are rather different. They're long and slender overall compared with the other ones we were just looking at. Interesting color with some brown, some white, and some of that purpley color. That is a very unique accent on the Luna moth. And right next to it, we can see the green and the, wow, you know what's interesting actually? Like Luna moths look greenish yellow, and it looks like their wing membrane is green and their scales are yellow to give them the overall look that they have. These yellow scales are so slender. They're so slender. And it reveals so much of the wing membrane underneath. It just looks like hair. And hopefully this super up close view gives you a sense of how much detail there is to discover in the world when you look closer and closer and closer and closer. Hi, Renee. Thanks for the award. Wow. And also how different the scales can be. So I don't know what advantage it gives the Luna moth that these scales are so thin on the main part of their body. So I'll zoom out so you can see. Whoops, I just zoomed in by accident, not out. This is super up close, actually. So while we are here, I thought may as well just zooming. Which way am I zooming? I'm just trying to focus, actually. I'm not zooming. Okay. It's really hard to see what's going on here, but this is very up close of the Luna moth. Turn brightness down. We were looking at the... This is what we were looking at over the last couple of minutes. Wow. So cool. Let's take a look at the fluff on its body. How about? So we're going up the shoulder, past the eye spot we started off with. I will change the focus in a moment. Wow, it just looks so warm and fuzzy, doesn't it? Slowly adjust this. Oops. Okay, so this is like the shoulder of the moth. And the base of the antenna. There we are. So this is what covers its main body parts of the thorax. The head is right here at the top. And it's probably this way to help keep it warm at night. Maybe like a buffer for the cold, because they need to be a certain temperature to fly around. And while summer is usually hot, there are sometimes at nighttime it can get a little cooler or chillier. Are we looking from the top? Yes, we're looking from the top. Here is, if you guys can see, a view of how we're looking at it. Let me switch this. So you can kind of see right here is the moth flat. So we're looking at the top of it. Okay, going back. Okay. All right. I also am curious to look at the tail. The tail is a rather remarkable part of this insect, because not all tails of moths or butterflies or other flying, not all flying animals have such elaborate tails. I'm curious to see if there's anything in particular that stands out about the tail of this moth, because it's known to be, it's really more, I think the shape of it has been discovered to be a great defense against bats detecting them. The tricky thing though is that the tail part really curves a lot too. So I'll focus on zooming in here for now. So focus is in, gotta get the zoom, and now I'll turn the brightness up too. And well, here are the scales, which look really different from the other ones also. Yellow, pale yellow, more vibrant yellow, and also, oh, some white scales in there too. Do you guys see the white scales hidden beneath the yellow scales? They're shorter and white. And then they also have a little bit of that pinkish, brownish moth scales in the back. So very interesting. Oops, sorry, it's out of focus. It's tricky when it's in focus on the camera. It's slightly out of focus when I look through the microscope on my own. So there we are. Okay. I don't know if I can get the very tail just based on the way that I have it positioned here, but I'm gonna try the fringe as well. The oops, what is this part? This is the fuzzy part, the fuzzy hind fringe of the wing. This kind of looks like a plant with very abundant trichomes or plant hairs. Looks like we're looking at some sort of plant mass, but this is the Luna moth still. Okay, so this is the other part that I was curious about. The hind, oops, the hind wings, the hind fringe. And bear with me as I get the focus and the light, cameras, action. It does look like the colors are so plant-like. It reminds me of Monarda or bee balm. But here we are looking at the hind fringe. They look like, they remind me of petals of some sort of slender plant. So yeah, this is our Luna moth, everybody. Cool. Looks like a weird green flowing river. All right, so I'll zoom out now. Oops. And I think we'll go to our next organism. Are these scales super slim, or is it a perspective thing? They are super slim. They are. I don't know why, but that's also why I took it. This is what we were looking at just now. I need to actually take it off of here because the wetness is not good from the condensation from taking it out of the freezer, but this is the moth we were just looking at underneath the scope. Okay. Now we'll look at this other butterfly. Which is some sort of pierid butterfly. This one was collected in my hometown in 2011, right by Philadelphia. Okay. Oops. Yes, now we have our next butterfly on, getting all teared up. And you'll see major differences with the design of the scales. Oops. So I'm looking at the hind wing. We're looking at the hind wing of this butterfly, this pierid, and take a look at how different the scales are in comparison with our moth friend. There we go. Zoom all the way in. So, oops, other direction for focus. So this one, its main body, main center of the wing scales are way more like kind of typical of what I think people think of, or what I think of when I think of butterfly scales. The edges are not as fringy as the Luna moth. And it looks like there are also some hairs. You see those hairs that are, where are they coming from? They're coming from, let's follow the hairs. Wow, lots of hairs. I'll pause a moment here. This is interesting to see. I also want to do white balance again. Whoa, it's too blue. I think it's too blue at least. Oh, you know why it's too blue? Because the butterfly has some yellow to it. So I think that there's some overcompensation of blue here. It's a little more like that. Oops. Something like that. Or what if I do default? Wow, it's definitely not that. Okay. It's more like that. Hi, Walter, how are you? Okay, hopefully that works. All right. Oh, let's go away. Uh-oh, connection got a little unstable. Pretty good. We're having some fun looking at butterfly scales at the moment. So yeah, the hairs are coming from, well, they're coming from the wing itself, it looks like, but there are also a lot more hairs near the main body part of this butterfly. So here's the butterfly zoomed out. Trying to get it in focus. There it is. A beautiful butterfly. Try one more white balance attempt. Oops. Nope. Okay, let me go back to that. I don't know, I need to practice, I guess, with the whole color things. I'm trying to make it look the way that I see it. I see it. It's very pink there, or like salmon-y colored. So I think this needs to. I don't know. I have to work on this part of it. It's because this part down here is too yellow, is too like strangely yellow now. I think maybe it needs more blue. I don't know, something I need to work on, but it looks, oh no, I think that the screen did go pixely. Let me unpresent. Ooh, send the picture, Walter. All right, let me try this again. What do I do about the color situation? Work in progress. Frank is giving me suggestions, but adjust the balance. Yeah, I guess I'll try this. This is, I think maybe this will work. I did the other day when I was using this and looking at it, I did think that it was a little oversaturated, what it gave me. So I'm gonna bring it down a little bit. Wait, yeah, I'll bring it down a little bit. Good. That's actually pretty good. Cool. The eye is very golden. It does look a lot like there's cotton candy. It's a cotton candy body that this butterfly has, which I definitely did not notice from, no, is it still pixely? No. Twitter, do Twitter. Okay, is this pixely? It's pixely to me, sadly. No, both are in pixels. Okay. What to do, what to do? This almost makes me want to show you with my other method where I have my phone as the second camera. I'll take a picture to share with you guys. How about that? Snap a picture. Did it do it? That's still new to me too. All right. Not sure what to do about the pixeliness. The pixels match the size of the scales though. Maybe it's influencing. The scale size is influencing. If I zoom in, will it get worse or better? Wow, these scales are so pretty. Maybe I can try to do a classic. Oh, I think it's clear now. Wow. All right, but you can see like how cotton candy, like Willy Wonka Wonderland, like rainbow sorbet, these scales are. It's really wild. I kind of can't believe it. It's really gorgeous. I know, right? Doesn't Ann Arbor know I'm broadcasting? No one else should be using the internet right now. The Bugscope is on. So yeah, some really gorgeous scales of all different colors, which you definitely cannot see from farther away. There's the purple ones on the right there, the kind of green, light greenish ones, and those purple ones are interesting because they're way wider than any of the other ones that we've seen so far. Then you can see these hairs, which are modified scales, actually. They look very like, festive and spiky too, which is very interesting. Looks like a garden or a coral reef situation. Oops. And then up here, what's going on up here? It's hard to tell. I think the base of the antenna are up here. I'll zoom out again for a clearer view. And now even more. Wow, so pretty. Like I can appreciate it from farther away, but it is really different to see it this way too. I do need to test out using my DSLR camera because right now I'm using the camera that this came with. And I'm very curious about what the controls will be like when I use my DSLR. So, all right, here's our butterfly, our rainbow butterfly, which from far away you cannot see that it looks like this way. Hi, Peter, how's it going? We're looking at this butterfly up close. Any other interesting traits on this butterfly besides its like cotton candy colored? Well, look at the fringe. Many butterflies have fringes. That's what we call them. And sometimes they are different colors. Like with this one, it is pink. We'll zoom right in here. Bless you, Mika. Nice pink fringe on the edge of the pale yellow and black butterfly. A little hard to get in all on the same plane for depth of field. Let's try this spot. Oops, other direction. Hi, Peter. It's going pretty well. I have to figure out what's going on with like, I don't know if it's my computer or what, but I've had spells of like where my shared screen was blurry and then, or pixelated, then I was pixelated, then both were pixelated, then both came back to clarity. And Maybe it's my internet because the connection goes from great to like poor. But then one time when I stopped screen sharing and then re-screen shared, it was okay again. I don't know if it's related or what, but I am moving in August. I don't know if I said that yet. And I don't know how that will affect things either. Maybe a new internet will be a good thing. We'll see. I'm not using OBS, just using straight up this platform. Yeah. Maybe the scales have secret binary messages embedded. Yes, Peter. Frank was remarking earlier about how at one point the pixelation seemed to be the same size as the scales, as the pixels that make up the butterfly patterns on the beautiful mosaic, which we are looking at here. So I'll make this brighter. Is that too bright? Almost too bright. Yeah. Okay. We'll look at, so I'm gonna zoom out and, oops, too dark. This is the butterfly that we were just looking at. Here it is. This is the butterfly. So you cannot tell at all how colorful those scales near its head are unless you really zoom in on them. Pretty wild. And yes, I'm using climbing tape, which is a little dirty from being in the car and on trips, but that's what I'm using right now to hold my pinned specimen, butterfly specimen. Oh, let me see what Peter's saying. It's not necessary to screen share, but it's possible if you use a virtual cam and mic to bring into the broadcast studio. Oh, okay. I'll need to learn how to do that. Cool. The small yellow dots were rather intense close up. Oh yeah, that we first started with. Is that what you mean? Oh, I wonder what this underside would look like. We're gonna try to look at this underside because it has some shiny. Do you see those shiny dots on the hind wings? Let's see what they look like up close. Might be interesting, might not. We'll see. It'll be hard to access them because they're upside down. I don't have like the right tool for that right now, but we'll try. Oh, maybe I can try with this. We're gonna try by using this spool of thread, and I will try to orient this upside down on there. I think that's secure enough. All right, here we go. Our makeshift specimen manipulator. Okay. Gold spot, we're coming for you. See what you look like. So I'll get it in focus and then bring you guys in. Yeah. Oh, I need to lower everything if I can. Can I? Okay. Here we go. All right, here's the shiny spot. And let's get it in focus for you. It's funny, I see a little more shine when I look at it that I don't see here. But maybe when I roll it into focus, we will see it. Interesting. Wow, that's kind of weird. Maybe I can see shine when I look at it with my own eye through the scope that I don't see in like this camera version. Oh, there it is. It's a little bit there. The tips are a little shiny. I'll turn the camera. There's one scale out of place there. It needs to be preened, although they don't really preen. Butterflies and moths do not preen like birds and birds do. Definitely not, or mammals do. If the scale falls off, it falls off, and that's that. The job has been done with the role that the scale plays in the butterfly or moth's life. Yeah, it's super, since we're super close up, it's hard to get everything in focus here. And these white scales just don't seem to want to be getting in focus. Actually, you know why that is probably? It's probably hard to get in focus because they are iridescent. And sometimes things that are iridescent, like it's hard to explain, but it's harder to see the edges of them because they change before your very eye. Hi, Bo. How's it going? Oh, you're speaking about OBS. Okay, I'll look into that then. Shiny and sparkly needs camera movement, so still views are difficult. Exactly. Yeah. Maybe I can like wiggle it. Can I wiggle it so you guys can see it? Maybe. Wiggle, wiggle. Nope, that's not gonna do enough. Oh, kind of got a bit of it. Bit of the shine, I think, when I did that. But anyway, the butterfly's life is too short for preening. Yeah, I'll switch this out now. Especially now that I think I'm probably gonna get pixely because my connection dropped, but then it also came back. Hope you're doing well, Rich. Okay, taking this out. Adding our last, maybe we'll look at this one. Our last comparative specimen will be this noctuid moth or underwing moth. They're called underwing moths because they have these bright colors on the underside of their wing. This one has orange, so when it's at rest, all you see is the brown. Then if it gets spooked or is trying to fly away and escape, it'll show off that bright orange flash, which can shock and startle a predator or disorient them. And it's successful apparently because it's evolved multiple times across species, that sort of technique, that sort of setup. So we'll see how this one's scales compare to the other scales that we've been seeing. Right, where shall we take a look? Okay, over here. So we're looking at the hind wings. And I'll just zoom right into the fringe. Let's get this. Get it in focus. There we are. These ones are pretty standard scales too. You can see it's a mix of the scales and hairs. Those hairs are basically modified scales though. Don't really know the function of the scales, sorry, the hairs versus the scales. But as I was mentioning earlier, scales are really important for moths and butterflies in protecting them from water predators. And they also form as a platform for communication with others of their own species and also predators or other organisms that they might interact with. So there are also male butterflies, like with monarchs, that have special glands on some of their parts of their wings, which, let me turn this brightness down a little bit, or maybe the contrast down. Let me turn the contrast down because that white is like so white. There we go. Okay. Trying to get the fringe in focus. It's very hard to get it in focus. Why is it so hard to get the yellow in focus? Oh, I think it's because it ends with white. I think it's hard to get those scales in focus because, yeah, that's why. It's because they end in white, so they really fade into the background. You can see it with these ones pretty well. Very stealth, very stealth. See that white tips there? It's really hard to see on a white surface. Actually, yeah, let me. Now it's not on a white surface. So I think I'll be able to show them to you more easily. Yeah, now you can see them way clear. They look like little hands reaching out, don't they? These ones are really long and slender, and then they get thicker at the end. Very different from all the other scales we've seen so far. They're really interesting. I want to give them a high five. Anybody else want to give them a high five? Oh, darn, it's pixely again, though. But we're looking at the scales of moths and butterflies. And I'm going to wait a moment to see if it might get unpixely again. Or maybe I'll unshare my screen and reshare it. Let's try that one again, that trick. Okay, unshared. And now I shall reshare. And maybe it'll work. Maybe it won't. I hope it does. Yeah, I think that worked. Yeah. Do you guys see what I mean by that? It's like a bunch of little hands reaching out. Especially down near the bottom there. Can I zoom in some more? I can zoom in more. But it's, of course, always harder to get the focus right when we're more zoomed in because the depth, the focus depth gets razor thin. And so everything, like those two right there, I'm going to give those two a high five. Those two scales. Yep, David, I'm getting my geek on with the moth scales. Who would have ever thought that such an urge would come across to want to high five a moth scale? But here we are on the Bugscope today. Yep, this moth has all the jazz hands. Yep, good for the high five award. Let me get. Is it in focus? Does it look in focus to you guys? I wish that there was some sort of sharpening button I could press. But it looks like a bunch of people raising their hands or like, yeah, very interesting. Do I have any? Okay, do I have like a insect pen nearby? I'm gonna give it a high five. I can't though. This is way too thick. Wow. Wow, this is huge in comparison to that. That was these forceps right here. To give you a sense of size. So we were just looking at these forceps, and I'll put my finger next to it now too, so you guys can get a sense of size as well. I'm gonna actually give it a high five. Here we go. Here we go. Oops, there's my finger. Yeah. Just missed it. I wasn't really even able to touch it. Hello, scales. It's like a high finger cell. Like they're so tiny. Like that was my pinky finger, and you couldn't even see the curve of my pinky finger basically because of how small they are. I think that they're not on the right focal plane now, perhaps, but anyway, so there we go. Anything else to show you on this moth? Let's take a look at the leading. We'll take a look at the leading edge of the front wing, the forewing, to see what that looks like, and then I think call it a day. Call it a day. But I guess I can show the pinky five from this angle too. You can see the fringe, that fringe line as well, going down the side. Okay. Here's my pinky. We zoomed out a bunch, but it's still so zoomed in. Hello. Little high five scales. Okay. So we're going to wander this way up to the other part of this moth, to the forewing, the front wing. Oops, and zoom. Which way do we zoom? Here we go. Oh, you can see a spot where some scales look like they fell out too. Yeah, they do. Yeah, Jason Skelton should have been here for the high finger. Yeah, maybe I can I'll send him a screenshot of it. So here are some of the scales on the front of the wing. You can see them all fringy. Zooming in. Whoops. They're really long too, I think. I think they're super long. Did you guys notice how when the stalk over there was we're looking at a spot where some scales fell out. That's what that hole is in the middle. Whoa. Wow. Are these on stalks? STALKs? Like stalked scales? Like very risen up from the membrane of the moth, it looks like. Very interesting. Interesting. I wonder if that helps to create a barrier to help keep the moth warm, maybe? Not sure. It's really different from the Luna moth, which the membrane of the Luna moth, which was green, was just like basically naked with those yellow slender scales. We saw that earlier. And this one's kind of the opposite, where it's completely covered. And it looks like there's a bunch of extra cushioning too, perhaps. It's hard to see. I'm just exploring this with you. Yeah. Which side of the wing is more aerodynamic? Definitely like the front of the wing. Or unless you're talking about the top and the bottom, the ventral and dorsal sides. The leading edge, that's what I was wandering over to until I got stopped by this wing gap right here, which has me very interested. It's really hard to tell what's going on, I think, but it looks like there's a bunch of hairs under there. Like it's a big hole. Anyway, all right, let's go back out and go to the front. Go by the head of the moth too. This is the shoulder of the moth. I think its antenna maybe fell off. It's an older specimen that has moved around a bunch because I don't see antenna anywhere. Looks very much like a hawk or something like that, really feathery, even though it's all scales. It looks reminds me of like a chicken or a bird of prey. These just look so soft and fluffy, don't they, guys? Wow, very cool. Okay. I did want to, oh, you can see how it's super long. They're super long. Super long. Wow. And over here, there's this one that's like really fallen out. Anyway, all right. I was going to the wing. Oh, we can look at the eye though, if you guys want to while we're here. I want to, so we're doing it. Here's the eye, which doesn't look as exciting as it might have looked when it was alive, because they really dry up. But you can see and we can appreciate all the cells that make up a compound eye with this sort of view. They still look rather pretty, don't they? Thanks, Mineral Man. Take care. So this is the eye, the many ommatidia. Each of those cells are called ommatidia, and that's why it's called a compound eye. Okay. Oh, I do see. Yeah, I think this antenna broke off. The other one is around. And then, yeah, the front edge is just very solid scale. Not to be confused with a scale bug. But looks like a bunch of little rakes. So, all right, there we go. Calculating numbers of these is known as mathematics. That's a good one. I'm going to share that on the screen. I don't know what just happened, but hi again. Can you see me? Are we live? Is this real life? What other questions can I ask? All the existential live broadcasting questions. Is this live? Walter's pun killed. Yeah, mathematics was too much to handle. I got kicked out of the studio. But that's where I was going to end anyway, I guess. So thanks, guys, for joining. We see you. I see you guys there here with me in the comments. So super. Okay, I'll put this back now. But I hope you guys enjoyed this tour of. Oftentimes I give like insect biodiversity tours, and this was like a tour of a little more specific than that, moth and butterfly scale diversity, which was a broadcast largely filled with looking and wonder. And you can see how when you take a closer look at something, you start to develop a lot of questions, like why are they long and slender, or why are they short and stocky, or why can we see so much membrane on the Luna moth when the other one is completely covered with scales? Which I'm guessing in that case it has to do with warmth, perhaps, but I don't really know. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this tour, and have a great weekend. Thanks for joining me on this week's edition of the Bug Scope, and enjoying our new Bug Scope together. Yay! Making use of it. All right. Cheers, guys. Catch you later. Thanks for the super hearts and all the different awards and high fives and things like that, and the puns. So cheers. Here, I'll bring in Mika to say goodbye too. Okay. The live studio audience. Can we put fun too, Mika? All right. Bye. Have a good day and weekend.